before we get started, I got a sticker shout out to Andy Berkey. Andy and I go back a few years. Here's his Seymour Make Better sticker that he gave me a couple of years ago at the Autodesk Pier 9 facility in San Francisco. But he got a new sticker that says, "You are weird, I like you." Now I also got my Seymour Make Better t-shirt, and it says, "Berkey, stuff made by hands." Now, if you don't know who Andy Berkey is, I strongly recommend you find him on YouTube or on Instagram. You can also search the two hashtags Blame Berkey and Actual Moron. And if you search those hashtags, you will see some of the best photography and some of the best craftsmanship that you will ever see. But he included this note with my shirt, and the content of this note ties in with today's project, so I want to read a part of it to you. It says, "Hand stenciled and imperfect without apology. This shirt is made with one of the dumbest printing processes in the entire world." Now what this tells me is that while Andy is a true craftsman, he will also take whatever shortcut is necessary to get the job done. And that's what today's project is all about. So here we have my '63 Econoline Pickup. And the reason I have it today instead of 5 years from today is because this one came along at a really great price and it has no rust. It's got plenty of dings and dents, but the amount of rust on it is minimal. And that is very rare among these. So it pushed my timeline up. Unfortunately, the parking bay where I was going to do this project is currently filled with a 5x9 foot plasma table under construction. So I have to finish that project before I can get this back in there and start gutting it. But I will tell you a little bit about this project. First off, it needs everything. I mean, absolutely everything. This is a '63 Econoline. There is nothing usable or even safe about the suspension of one of these. It's two straight axles. It handles like a tractor because that's what it is. I don't want a tractor. I want something that will glue itself to the road with all-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes, and electric power plant to rival that of a Tesla. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take two Nissan Leaf electric power plants. Now they're rated at 70 kilowatts, but there are aftermarket inverters and controllers you can buy for them to practically double their power. I'm going to put one under the front, one under the back, and that should give me about 300 kilowatts, which is what a Tesla has. Now we get to where Andy Berkey plays into this. His t-shirt is made by the dumbest printing technique in the planet. I'm about to employ the dumbest sewing technique on the planet by making a car cover for this thing to hide it until I can get it back into the parking bay and start stripping it down and turning it into my dream car. So this fabric is almost the exact same width as the body. I think I can fix that with just by coming in on the sides. So I have my back, top, and front. I'll just trim that off. All right. Now I'll take my temporary hemming device, staple it all together, then take it inside, sew it, turn it inside out, put it back on the car. Now before I cut these panels to shape, I kind of want to tack them onto the place so I can get the wrinkles out. Okay, that's off to an okay start. One thing I'm making sure to do is anything I do on one side, I do on the other side before I get too far, because I don't want this thing getting all wonky. Okay, that's coming together all right. I'm actually a little long here, but that's okay. Okay, so the way I'm doing this, and this is just my logical monkey brain at work here, I'm folding in the wrinkle, and there's a seam right there that I want to follow. So I'm taking the wrinkle in that far, and then I'll come in and staple it there. And after I get both sides done, if it still looks like it's a pretty good fit, I'll come trim the excess cloth off. Make no mistake, this thing's going to have wrinkles. Some of you may know that on a woman's blouse, right there where the speed bumps are, they use a thing called a dart. And I think a dart is the perfect thing to put right here. Okay. So far so good. Okay, now this looks like I can come in and just take off a nice big swath of this. But I want to make sure both sides look the same before I do that, and then I'll take it off of both sides. So I'm a little high on this side and a little low on that side, so I'll just adjust it a little. Now one thing I notice when I make costumes is they almost always run small, and that's because I mark them in one place and sew them too close. So I'm giving this thing a lot of flexibility because I don't want to have to make it again. On the bright side, it's looking like it's coming together fairly well. Now that it's roughed in, we'll take it in and sew it. The final step will be to put a hem around the bottom where I can string a cable through and put a lock on it so it can't just be removed. Because you can't buy these. And it looks like I bought about 20 yards too much fabric, but better to have too much than not enough. And now where the road meets the rubber. Okay, now you can see here I've come through and did a double stitch, and maybe you can't see that, but I did do it. Anyway, so I came through here and I did a double stitch. I just went down it once and then went down it again, and now I've got excess to trim off around here, and then I can remove the staples. And now I don't have a staple remover, so I'm just using my pocket knife, which is not the best because it tears a thread here and there. I knew I was going to be doing this. I should have just bought a staple remover. And the reason I didn't is because I thought I had one. Of course I can't find it. And I gotta say I'm fairly happy with the fit. It's alright. I still need to do these darts up here in the front, but the rest of it's not bad. Now I've trimmed off a bunch of extra material on this side. We'll just go ahead and reestablish a seam here. The last thing I want to do is hem the skirt of this thing so it's the same height off the ground all the way around. So the last thing I did was to go around the entire perimeter and make marks at 18 inches off the ground, because that's where I want the bottom of this skirt to hang. And then I'm going to go around and fold it up to create a pocket to pass a cable through so I can lock the cable onto the van, because you cannot buy a cover for that van. Alright, well the last thing to do is thread the cable through, and that might be best done on the van. So let's go mount it up. Alright, so the cable's threaded through, and it's a little bit longer than I need, but I knew that when I bought it. I'm going to cut it off, put an end on it. And the way I'm going to do that is take my anvil here, now I'm just going to pop a padlock on that and we'll be good to go. Well, that's it for part 1 of the Econoline rebuild. I'm not sure what part 2 is going to include, possibly the removal of the engine, since I know I'm not going to use that. It needs quite a bit of body work. There are quite a few dents in it, but at least no rust. My approach is going to be to address the bodywork first and make it a rolling chassis. We'll see what kind of electric drivetrains are on the market at that time. Anyway, that's all for this week. Thanks for stopping in. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click up here to see my last video. Click over here to see something of mine that YouTube thinks you'll like. And have a good one.